Good morning, BookTube. Welcome to my subscribers. Welcome to my visitors. If it's your first time here, especially big welcome. If you're returning, great big welcome to you too. I'm Michael Romeo, and I talk about books. And this is the next episode of my weekly series, Monday Meanderings, where I just talk off the top of my head, a little stream of consciousness, no script. Very rarely do I even use notes. And believe it or not, I do have my pack here with me, except they're all out of sight. The little one is down here biting my fingers, isn't she? Yeah, yeah. See that? Yeah, she wants to bite my fingers. Right beside the little one on this side is the big one, but you can't see him because he's got his head down. What do you want with my fingers? What's on my fingers that you want so bad? Hmm? What's there? Anyway, Monday Meanderings. Here's what I've been thinking about this week. Um, some of you may be familiar with Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl. She's a booktuber. If you haven't checked out her channel yet, you really must. She has a wonderful channel. She does some very interesting things. Stuff that I see it and I go, gee, I wish I thought of doing that. And she got to it first though. Sometimes I do copy her. I recently just posted a post on book pairings. That idea came from her. She's got a wonderful channel and she's got a wonderful personality. And I really do hope you all go and check her out and subscribe to her if that vibe rings with you. But anyway, I was watching her quite a bit because I do subscribe to her. And it dawned on me how passionate she is about Canadian writers. Okay, she's from Canada. She lives in Canada. Canada has its own publishing houses. Why wouldn't she be reading a lot of Canadian books? And yes, I agree with that. It's just common sense that she would read a lot of Canadian books, but she goes beyond that. She's almost patriotic in the way she addresses Canadian books. She follows Canadian authors. She follows Canadian Book Awards. She follows Indigenous authors, and she's a fount of information about what's going on in the Canadian literary market. And I thought, I should be that passionate about North Carolina writers because I live in North Carolina. And I wouldn't say, the United States writers because obviously, the United States is a huge place. And it has probably the biggest per capita publishing industry of any country, probably. I don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming. But what about if I zeroed it in to North Carolina? And I became as passionate about North Carolina writers as Jolene is about Canadian writers. Could even zero it down a little bit more. What about my region, Western North Carolina? Because North Carolina is a big state. Really, it takes 8 hours or more to drive from one end to the other. It's a long state. What if I narrowed it down even more and did the Asheville metro area writers? And I decided, well, okay, I could be getting crazy here. How many writers are there from Asheville? How many are there from this region? So I did a Google search of North Carolina writers and Asheville writers, and come to find out, there's a boatload of North Carolina writers, many of them famous. There are, okay, so it's not a yacht full, but still a big boat load of Asheville writers published, and I'm not and in the traditional manner of being published, and who have books that just sound, from the thumbnails, riveting. And I decided that I need to be like Jolene is with Canadian writers and Canadian books. And I need to start focusing in on North Carolina writers and North Carolina books, even focusing down so far as to the Asheville metro area, which is where I live. So, no, come on now, don't you start. I'm talking here. So, yeah. So I've decided in the coming year to become more conscious of local writers. And, I already know, I was surprised to find who some of my local writers are, local being the entire state of North Carolina. Diana Gabaldon, who wrote the Outlander series, is from North Carolina. Patricia Cornwell, the forensic mysteries, come on, Toby, writer, is from right almost next door to where I am. Jan Karen, author of the Mitford series, it's from North Carolina. And Nicholas Sparks, romance writer, is from North Carolina. James Patterson, you all know James Patterson. Even if you don't read him, you know James Patterson. He's from North Carolina. And, but again, they're not the ones, excuse me, that I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on the lesser known ones. I'm going to start reviewing some books by them, and just bringing a little bit of a spotlight where right now there doesn't seem to be much of one. I don't think my work is going to blow anybody into stardom, because I've got a booktube channel with a couple hundred subscribers, whom I love and am very grateful for. But that's not like Oprah. If Oprah latches onto somebody's book, it becomes an instant bestseller and they become very rich. And don't think that will happen from anything I review. But I do want to be cognizant of it, even if it's just for myself. Cognizant of local writers and local books. And so in the next year, you're watching my channel, you'll see more of that. You'll see more of the local flavor. And I throw this out to y'all. How many of you really pay attention to the local literary scene where you are? And if you're not paying attention to it and something you want to do, it's as easy as a Google search away, because the state universities will have the information. I mean, that's where I found the information on the North Carolina and the Asheville writers, was from the state university system and their website. So even, if you're in Michigan, you can Google Michigan writers. If you're in Hawaii, you can Google Hawaiian writers. If you're in Arizona writers. And I'm sure every state has got to have a fair share of people who write books. And you'll be surprised who some of them are when you look them up. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I throw the gauntlet down to all of you out there. If you're not from the United States, if you're from another country, then you'll know what local means to you. Depending on how big your country is, right? Is local your metro area? Is local your half of the country? Is local the entire country? Um, it's something for you to decide, and something that would be easy for you to find out. So that's my meandering for this week, all about local writers, local books, and discovering them, and being as passionate about them as Jolene is about the Canadian literary scene. And right now I got to discipline the puppy. Excuse me. TARDIS, leave the cats alone. TARDIS. TARDIS. Come on. Where's my TARDIS? Come on, leave the cats alone. Okay, thank you. So leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you know about your local literary scene? What do you know about your local writers? Is it something that you even pay attention to? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. And that's it for this week's Monday Meandering. And I look forward to next week's. We'll see what that one will be about. And I'll tell you, I don't know what it's going to be about, usually until right before I sit down in front of the camera, like today. And sometimes the suspense really gets to me, because it's like a cliffhanger, because I've got the time limit coming up, and I still have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And that's the fun of it, right? Yes, Trappist. Yes, I know, it's important, isn't it? Yeah, okay. We're saying goodbye now, okay? Okay, say goodbye. Can you say goodbye? Well, you just said goodbye? Is that what you're telling me? You just said goodbye? Okay. So anyway, the pack says goodbye. And we'll see you again shortly. Oh, I did want to point out, coming up at the end of the week is the other weekly thing we do, the Friday First Pages, where I read the first page of a book and we all decide whether or not there's a hook in the first page. I did put up a short, because the book is going to be one that comes off a shelf of mine, this shelf right here. And I scanned it in a short video and challenged everybody to vote for the book that is going to be the book that we pull the first page from. So go ahead and find that, see what you want to do, and let me know. Take care. See you soon.